Hi, everyone, and thanks again for tuning in to STEM Girls Virtual, where we talk all about STEM careers. Those are in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. And today we are going to learn from a wonderful lady from one of our local colleges, our local University of Cincinnati. Her name is Paula Lampley, and she is the Director of Women in Engineering for the College of Engineering at the University of Cincinnati. Hi, Paula. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Becca. I'm so glad to be here. Any opportunity I get to talk to our future STEManistas, I always look forward to it. So hello out there. Can't wait to chat.
That is fabulous. I like that term, STEManistas. I might have to steal that from you. So,
Okay,
without further ado, we're just going to jump into some questions. Is that okay?
that's perfect.
Fantastic. So, our first question is, can you tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do at the University of Cincinnati, your job, how you interact with students, all that?
Great. I am the Director of Women in Engineering. So in my role, I have the privilege of working on opportunities to expose students to STEM and more particularly engineering. So that may look like coming out to a high school or going to the museum center and working with STEM girls to expose students to engineering. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is really recruiting high school students to attend the College of Engineering. So I get involved in actually working with high school students as they are preparing, while they're choosing, answering all their questions, talking with the parents. So there's a recruitment aspect, and then supporting them, creating an opportunity to engage with other classmates that look like themselves at the college. And we have all kind of welcome events, fun social atmosphere for them to participate in. It's just a one time that the students can get together and have an event hosted just for them at the college. And I also work on opportunities for community gatherings and things like that, not only for students, but for our female faculty and staff as well.
That's wonderful. And as a past Bearcat, well, a Bearcat for life, those events are so great. It's so wonderful to find people within your same age range, within your same discipline, in your same group of interests. It's great to find that sense of community. I know when I went to UC, I didn't know anybody and I came from a different town. I wasn't from the area. And those sorts of events were really, really great. So thank you for putting those on.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
All right, our next question is, can you please tell us what sparked your interest in this field? Was it always something that you were interested in? Was it something that you grew into? Can you just tell us a little bit about your particular career path?
I was not always interested in it, so I always want to let students know, and even parents, if your child is not expressing an interest in science and math really early on, that doesn't mean they're not going to make a great engineer in the future, because I was not that way. I did pretty well in math and science, but I also loved reading. I was on the debate team. But my sister, in her summer before her senior year, and we're only 11 months apart, went to Notre Dame for a summer camp in civil engineering. And she came back and she said she loved it. So my parents were like, Jill, you're going to study electrical engineering in college. Well, I'm 11 months younger. So when I went away, they said, Paula, you're going to study electrical engineering when you're in college. So that's kind of how I found my niche, by learning from my sister, her experience her first year. She had a great co-op job after her first summer. So it just really spoke to me in that way. And I like solving problems. So for me, that was my entry into engineering. And I ended up going to a college that required co-op. And I like to say that I am a flying Bearcat, because I actually went to University of Dayton to get my degree in electrical engineering. And I went to the College of Law at UC. So I'm a flying Bearcat. So even though I didn't get my engineering degree from UC, I am a Bearcat. So University of Cincinnati is still in my heart. But that's how I landed in the College of Engineering at University of Dayton. and it was a required co-op. So I got to work in the field. I loved it. And I ended up going to law school because, again, I love to solve problems. But that was kind of the way I found out about engineering, was through my sister and her experience. And again, remember, a lot of times it's modeling. When you see someone else in the area that you may be interested in, it's very easy for you to find yourself loving, or at least piquing your interest, because you believe you can do it too.
Right. And so you say you talk about your law degree. Do you find that your worlds of engineering and law are often melding, or are they very separate?
I do find a lot of intersection between the two, although people generally think that there would not be, because really, I kind of consider myself the ultimate problem solver. Obviously, with math, you're using a science, I mean, with engineering, you're using a science and math and technology background to solve problems. That's what an engineer does. And as a lawyer, you are generally becoming an advocate for your client, whether they be a person or a corporation, but you're trying to solve their problem. So I find that that is the intersection. The studying part is totally different. Law is 3 years. Most engineering programs are 5 years, so it's a little bit different. But yes, using that unique ability to be a problem solver and a very linear thinker, I think is what you have at your core as an engineer. And that is very easy to use when you're helping your clients as a lawyer. So
Thank
I would
you.
say
Very,
yes.
very interesting. That's very interesting. Thank you. And it's so fun to see how very different disciplines can come together in a very fun and interesting and unique way. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Mhm.
Our next question is, what is one of the coolest or most interesting experiences that you have had as part of your career?
Great question. I co-opt at General Motors in Dayton, about an hour north of Cincinnati. And I had the opportunity to work with General Motors 2 years after I got out of undergrad. I worked there for 2 years, and I worked at Delco Moraine GM automobile manufacturing facility. And I had the opportunity to be a manufacturing engineer right on the floor when things were manufactured, put together, put in a box. And we made wheel cylinder assemblies. So the part that goes into the wheel, not the
Okay.
brake, but a part that goes attached to the brake, the wheel cylinder. So we had a traditional assembly line, which generally is just, a horizontal. You're going from one end to the next. You make it, you do something to it in between, you attach it, you box it at the end. In order to be more efficient, we took that assembly line, and I worked with the design team, and we shaped it into a U. So that means the person packing it, if you can imagine, is very close to the end of the line, because now it's a U, it's not down in front. So the efficiency that was driven by that, and the team and workmanship, because now many people can do different things because of the way that the assembly line was set. Remember, problem solving is what we do best. So
Hmm.
I love that because the team built into it, the manufacturing foreman, all of them, decided this was a good thing. So I actually got to see it from beginning to end. I hope they're still using it, although many people know Delco Moraine is no longer as big as it was in Dayton, Ohio. But it was just a great time to put that problem solving skill right into play, right in front of me. So that would have to be the best.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that story with us. It sounds like an awesome challenge. Our next question is, what is a challenge that you faced in your journey to become who you are today? I know that everyone's going to face a challenge in life. Everyone faces a challenge in their career or personally, or maybe it's in their collegiate journey.
Mhm.
But the best way to learn of how to overcome those challenges is often to learn from how others have overcome their challenges. So we'd love to get some advice and hear about how you have overcome some of your challenges.
Great question. And this is just a great time to talk about it as well, because some of the students out there, all of my STEManistas, the reason why we're talking to you is because there are not as many females as engineers as we need.
Mhm.
So that means when I was in school in the late 80s, there were not many females studying engineering. So the challenge for me was going to college, studying a very difficult curriculum, and not having people around me that actually looked like me. However, I had one person that almost looked identical to me, and that was my sister, because we went to college together to study engineering. So she and I worked together on a lot of things, but the challenge was there were not a lot of other people that were African American like ourselves, and there were very few women in electrical engineering. So the challenge is to believe in yourself. We had to create a sense of community for ourselves. We had to remind ourselves that we were as prepared, as disciplined, as smart, as innovative and creative as all the other students studying engineering, even though they didn't look like us. And it's natural, like if you're in the Girl Scouts or you're in a community group, you always want to be in the in group and you want to be around people that look like yourselves. It just kind of feels good. But we had to develop resilience and to understand that we were going to have to formulate our own peer group, so to speak, and then find ways to get into the other groups to study and things like that. So the challenge was being in a very difficult curriculum and not having a lot of other females, which I know with all these STEMistas out there, those problems are going to shrink in the future,
Yes.
because we're going to have so many women who want to go into a STEM field.
That is definitely our hope. And that is great advice, regardless of your gender. Keep pushing, even if you don't see someone who looks like you or comes from the same area as you, maybe doesn't have the same field of interest as you have to keep working, you have to keep pushing, you have to find your own path. So many things that we have today would not be possible, wouldn't be around if we didn't have that first person building their own path. So we encourage everyone, make your own path, keep going, keep working, keep pushing. You can do it. We know you can. Okay, so the next question that we have is, what is some advice you'd like to give any young person, regardless of gender, uh, if they want to pursue a career in a STEM field? What is something that what's some wisdom you'd like to impart upon them?
Yes, I would say first is develop resilience.
Mhm.
It is a challenging curriculum. I don't think there's anybody out there who would tell you otherwise. I'm not saying that is unachievable. That's obviously not true, but it's challenging. So just know that going in. But more importantly, if I were you, and I advise young women and men who are thinking about a STEM field, is to job shadow.
Mhm.
Take the opportunity to talk to as many people as you can that are in a STEM field to see what they're doing, how they decided on their discipline. And then if you're looking at a university and you're wondering, how am I going to decide if that's even the university I want to go to study a STEM? And you're thinking about engineering in particular, remember there's a co-op program that allows you to have the opportunity to actually work in that field. So that's also something I think if you're looking at college and you're pre-college age, that's very important.
Mhm.
But even for young students who are just thinking in generally about STEM and they're thinking about classes they should take in middle school and high school, and you have that interest, I think talking to as many people as you can about that is going to help. I also think participating in programs like STEM Girls at the Cincinnati Museum Center.
Thank
I know
you.
the Girl Scouts, of course, we had fun. The Girl Scouts has programs as well. I think they have Discover STEM Girls.
Mhm.
And then also remember anything you see in your community. Most colleges have summer programs for engineering, hands-on, any of those type things that allows you to get involved, hands-on, speaking with students who are studying, and then talking with engineers who are already in the field. That is a great way to prepare yourself. And remember, most universities have an explorers program the first year, or look for one that does. You're not
Yeah.
sure which particular discipline, you can come into UC, University of Cincinnati, in our freshman explorers program, and you will have the opportunity to take the same classes as other students and decide what discipline you want to go into in your second year. So those are just some things I would encourage young students to do, and then high school students. if they're thinking about a STEM career, particularly engineering.
That is great advice. Thank you. And the advice of shadowing somebody and reaching out to someone that you know and learning from them, that's fantastic advice. You never know who you're going to be able to connect with. It never hurts to reach out to somebody. We learned that with another interview guest, Allison Rogers from WLWT,
Oh,
the
yeah.
meteorologist. She got started by simply reaching out to her local meteorologist, and then she ended up working with that meteorologist. And
Wow.
so reach out to folks. People
Hmm.
want to help you and they
They
want to give
do.
their advice.
They do.
So we do have a couple audience questions. Would you have
Okay.
some time to answer those today?
Of course. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So the first one is about the numbers of women in the engineering fields. Have those numbers sharply increased? Have they decreased? Are they staying level? Are they where we want them to be? Thoughts on
Great question. They're not where we want them to be. We want more women. We need their lived experience, their talents, their innovation, their creativity. We need more women to be a part of that process. So to give you a perspective, in 1991, we had about 16% women actually earning an engineering degree from a college or university. 2001, about 20%. And some reason in 2009, we went down to about 17%. But
that?
I'm happy to say the national average is between 20 and 21% in terms of women earning engineering degrees. So we are on the rise. As I said, we're not where we want to be, but we're happy we're not where we were years ago.
Right.
We are seeing more and more students early on asking about hands-on activities, asking about STEM. So we hope that we will continue to see the rise in women because industry reps, corporate leaders, companies always are looking for female who have engineering degrees to bring their knowledge and their talent and their diverse skill set to their companies. So in order to have those women ready to go into the workforce, we have to create a pipeline. So we're hoping that we continue to increase that by things just like this program, getting students to start thinking about STEM and engineering.
Awesome. Thank you. The next question is, um, what are some resources that, maybe kids or teenagers, what are some resources that they can use at home right now where they might be able to further explore the fields of engineering? Maybe there's even a game that they can play that maybe gives them a taste of what that world is like, something
Mhm.
that they can do to get hands on at home during this time and keep exploring a potential career field.
Great question. There's so many things that you can do right from your fingertips. You know, if you have a device and you can get on YouTube or the internet or something like that.
Mhm.
One of the platforms that I really love, and this is particularly for women, is She Can STEM. And I love SheCanSTEM.com, SheCanSTEM, all one word.com, because they have different stories of engineers and what they do, and they are from different race, ethnic backgrounds. To me, it's a great way for young people to just kind of explore what this um, engineering is all about, looking into the different disciplines, and it's right at their fingertips. I love that. I always encourage students to look in their community for any kind of hands-on activities. Most museums, community centers, like I said, high schools, or excuse me, colleges during the summer have programs. And a lot of those programs are going to be devoted to STEM for men and women. And I think because there's such interest in filling that pipeline and getting those talented students, you're going to have a lot of opportunities. So I would encourage you always to look for those opportunities in the summer or in the evening while you're in school, but then also online. There's a lot of platforms. I like SheCanSTEM.com, but similar things even on YouTube are a lot of fun.
Yeah, and those some of the things on YouTube or even on Facebook now, they've got
Yeah,
little videos on Facebook. Those are things that you can do at home with your
sure.
family, with your brother, with your sister, with your friends, anything. And just getting yourself doing hands-on things really helps. I know that the STEM Girls program, we were fortunate enough to work with Paula and her team, and we did a program where we built structures with pasta and saw
Mhm.
how much weight they could hold. That was super fun,
Yes,
um, and very made out of very easy items around the home. So check out resources like that. It
you're right.
always helps.
Right. And always ask your parents, can I get these things
Yeah.
out? Start working with them. But you're right. Pasta. I mean, a lot of people do chemistry experiments with different powders of, flavored Kool-Aid and mixing them. I mean, those are things you learn right at home while you're cooking with your mom and dad
Yes.
that really have an experiment type niche connected to
Mhm.
them. But again, you'd be surprised how many things you're doing that have that kind of science element to it. So again, ways to discover. And if you look at your local college or community center, a lot of times they have just those type of activities all formed for you, and you can go sign up. It's usually free, and you'll have an opportunity to experiment with those things.
Yes, and like Paula said, do not take all of your parents' pasta without asking them. So
That may be a problem.
don't tell any of your parents that Miss Becca said that you could take the pasta, because I did
That's
not.
right. That's right.
One final question. We heard a lot about some advice that you would give incoming students, younger students, but we have a lot of students that are starting out as students older. They're just starting college careers, or they're going to get certificates now.
Mhm.
We have some kids that are in college still, and they're thinking, I want to change things up. What is some advice that you would give that demographic, the more adult demographic, if they were trying to enter the world of engineering?
Great question. If you're in college and you're not studying in a STEM field, and you're thinking, you know what, I really have this interest. I really want to change. I would advise you to go to your advisor first, and say, look, I've done this, but I'm thinking I'm going to make a pivot, and have their support, because a lot of times they will look at your classes that you've taken, see what credit you can get to transfer. So don't go it alone. Use them as advisors and see if they can help you. And if you're thinking, I'm still going to stay in business, that is my thing. I'm in the College of Business, but I have this STEM interest. Why not join some of those affinity groups? There's a lot of
Yeah.
technical associations for students, and you can say, I'm a business student or I'm a history major, but I really have an interest in this. You can also find yourself affiliating with the STEM world by doing those type of things. So don't forget all of the organizations that are on campus or in your local area. And then many of the trade schools, like for example, I don't know if it's really a trade school, so I shouldn't say that, but like Scarlet Oaks or Butler Tech, many of those organizations have wonderful classes that you can take that kind of become an entry into a STEM world. So don't forget that if you're an adult and you had another career, or you're thinking about changing your career, look at those schools to kind of start your matriculation into the sciences, and then that may help you decide really what you want to do when you go on a 4-year campus, or a campus to secure a 4-year degree. So don't forget about the community colleges and things like that as a resource to develop some of that interest and passion that you may have. So it's never too early. It's never too late. If you're interested in STEM, there's a path for you. You just kind of got to do your research, do a lot of shadowing. If you're in school, have your advisor help you. And if you're beyond high school or beyond college and you're thinking about making a pivot, there's the local community colleges that can help you get right onto the path that you're looking for.
Thank you. That is fantastic advice. That's all we have for today. Paula, thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, I am so thankful that you asked me. It's always an honor and a privilege to talk to our talented STEMistas and encourage them to consider STEM. If they have a passion for it, dive right in. Early ages, there's so many hands-on and fun activities middle school and high school, your advisors will tell you the type of classes that you want to take. And then when you get to college, I know you'll do well. I know you have the discipline, you're prepared, and our world needs you.
Mhm.
So we're excited by your interest at this point in your life to even consider this and to watch this video. So again, our world needs you. I can't wait to see how you're going to change the world. So
Yes,
thank you.
same. Cannot wait to see how all of you STEMistas are going to change the world. And any young person pursuing STEM, anyone in our audience thinking, this is for me, go for it. Do it. We want to see what you can do. We know you can do it. Thank you all so much again for tuning in. Keep checking out our website and our social media pages. The Cincinnati Museum Center is offering all kinds of fun at-home learning, like story tree time, even some dance parties, some more STEM Girls virtual. We've got all kinds of fun things. So please keep tuning in. Please check out updates for upcoming episodes of STEM Girls Virtual. Go Bearcats and
That's
keep
right.
learning, Cincinnati. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.